Do you feel like life is passing you by, and you're stuck in a gray routine? Perhaps you've heard of the mysterious depression before, but you've brushed it off, writing it off as fatigue. But what if it's your lifestyle, your habits day after day that push you into the arms of this condition? The exact causes of depression are not fully understood. However, some psychologists say that bad habits can play a significant role in its development. These are not necessarily chemical addictions, leading to deterioration of both physical and mental state. Alcohol and beyond can temporarily improve mood, but over time it alters the chemical balance of the brain, which can lead to an increase in depressive symptoms. It is important to keep in mind that a variety of biological, psychological, genetic, and social factors influence predisposition to depression. These factors can mutually reinforce each other, creating a fertile ground for depression to occur. For example, a biological predisposition can be activated by psychological stress or social pressures. Biological factors include heredity and features of brain functioning. People with depressive disorders often have relatives suffering from the same ailment, indicating a possible genetic predisposition. Psychological aspects may relate to personal experiences and ways of thinking. For example, traumatic events such as the loss of a loved one can trigger long-lasting emotional reactions leading to depression. Social factors include a person's environment and social connections. For example, social isolation or lack of support from friends and family can exacerbate depression. Genetic predisposition also plays a role, increasing the likelihood that certain bad habits will lead to depression. However, despite a lot of research, it has not yet been possible to experimentally prove a relationship between certain bad habits and depression. Nevertheless, there is a certain pattern that can be observed in most cases. People with certain habits are indeed more likely to suffer from depressive disorders. Below are a few bad habits whose owners are more prone to depression than others. Devaluing one's abilities, appearance, and health. When a person is constantly embarrassed about his qualities and closes in on himself, it can lead to feelings of inferiority and low self-esteem. Such a habit is formed from childhood or as a result of negative experiences. For example, constant criticism from parents or peers can lay the foundation for a negative perception of oneself. Advice to people with this habit is banal: take up sports. Not exhausting, not for the sake of medals. The best reward will be to help yourself. Regular exercise helps improve your mood and self-esteem, as well as reducing anxiety and stress. Mental and physical health are closely intertwined, and improving one aspect inevitably leads to improving the other. It is also important to surround yourself with supportive people and seek positive ways to express yourself. Socializing with positive people, participating in support groups or therapy sessions can greatly improve emotional well-being. Silencing stress. People who live under stress and constantly suppress their emotions often find themselves depressed. This is because unexpressed emotions accumulate, turning into chronic tension and anxiety. The more stressful factors in a person's life, the higher the likelihood of depression. In such situations, it is important to learn how to openly express your emotions and find ways to cope with stress. For example, it is possible to keep a diary where a person can freely express their thoughts and feelings, which helps to free themselves from the accumulated emotional load. When choosing between a stressful high-paying job and a quiet one with less income, remember the difference in money you will take to the doctors. You need to find a balance between work and rest, and use relaxation techniques such as meditation, yoga, or simply walking in the fresh air. It is also a good idea to set clear boundaries between work and personal time to avoid burnout. Unspent grief. The loss of a loved one is a difficult ordeal that not everyone manages to endure without consequences. At such times, symptoms of depression may appear, such as loss of appetite, loss of interest in life, and a desire to hide from everyone and suffer alone. Experiencing grief takes time and support, and it is important to allow yourself to live through the pain. Some people may feel they need to be strong and hide their feelings, but this can lead to worsening depression. It is important to seek help from a psychologist or psychotherapist to help you cope with the loss. Psychotherapy can provide a safe space to express and process pain. Support from friends and family also plays an important role in the recovery process. You should not be shy about your feelings, and you need to give yourself time to heal. Also, participating in support groups where you can share your experiences with other bereaved people can be very helpful. Self-criticism and cognitive distortions. People who are prone to self-criticism and introspection often find themselves depressed. Constantly digging into oneself and negatively evaluating one's actions can lead to chronic feelings of guilt and shame. For example, a person may blame themselves for mistakes they made years ago and are unable to let go of these memories. Relentless self-criticism does not make a person a better person. Instead, it destroys self-esteem and leads to depressive states. It is important to learn to accept yourself with all your flaws and mistakes. Positive thinking practices and cognitive behavioral therapy can help change negative attitudes and learn to see the positive aspects of yourself. Cognitive behavioral therapy helps people recognize and change negative thoughts, which can significantly improve their emotional well-being. Support from loved ones and self-acceptance also play an important role in overcoming this habit. An environment that encourages a positive view of oneself can greatly help in this process. Loneliness. Feeling internally empty and isolated even among people can be very painful. A person can have a family, friends, and still feel lonely. This is a state of non-acceptance and misunderstanding of oneself. It is important to learn to be in harmony with oneself and look for ways to express oneself. For example, you can engage in creative activities such as drawing or music to express your inner feelings. External stimulants such as hobbies, traveling, or social activities cannot always fill the inner void. It is necessary to work on inner peace and self-understanding, perhaps with professional help. Therapy can help to understand the roots of feelings of loneliness and develop strategies to improve emotional well-being. Developing emotional intelligence and self-compassion can help with feelings of loneliness. These qualities allow you to better understand your emotions and be more tolerant of yourself. All of the habits described above distance a person from society. Living in isolation, you will begin to notice depressive symptoms. Do not aggravate the situation. Take care of yourself, pay attention to your mental and physical health, and remember that there is always a way out of any, even the most difficult situation. Asking for help, support from friends and family, and accepting yourself and your emotions can make a big difference in your quality of life. Don't be afraid to ask for help and talk openly about your feelings.